Okay, another episode. We're doing these quickly. These games are coming fast. I'm passing these out like hotcakes. The Pistons have tied a franchise record of 13 wins in a row. They're 13 and 0 in their last 13 games. This is 2 years after they set records for being like the worst team ever with a lot of these same players, the same star. It's really nice to see. With that being said, it ended up being an unnecessarily difficult game against a bad team, against a bad Pacers team. They had to drive out to the sticks and go against the Hicks. And it was annoying. They were beating down on them. And the challenge was just, when they were beating them up at halftime, up 17 or so, the challenge was, can we beat this team in every quarter or at least every half? And absolutely do not let them make this a game. And they ended up doing that in the fourth quarter. It still kind of feels like the devil magic was lingering, but it just fully isn't. But I cannot believe the Pacers they're now 2-15. That's truly shocking to me. I don't care who's injured. It's still Rick Carlisle. It's still Siakam. I mean, he's been banged up a little bit, but I talked way too much about that stupid state and team the last time we did this, so I'm just going to get into the game, and I actually wrote down some notes, trying to get better at this. It was a hot start from 3 for both teams, somewhat. I want to say 7 of 10 versus 6 of 10 or so, and I thought, that's not going to keep up all the way for both teams, is it? But the first half for the Pistons, everybody was productive. At one point, I was looking at the stats as the game is going on, and it was like 7 points, 8 points, 7 points, 8 points. They played 11 people, and I think 10 players scored. 10 players scored, and then Ron Holland was doing his thing on defense. It was like a mirror image of the Bucks game. I don't know how this is going to work as the season goes on, but for now, they're trying to figure it out. And it's good that they can do this against bad teams to try to distribute the minutes correctly and figure this thing out, because that's a lot of players to play. But hey, Asar Thompson had my favorite possible first half that I had seen from him. I that's my favorite Piston. He frustrates me sometimes, but that's a part of the fun. But I mean, it was a defensive masterpiece on Nembhard on the Pacers, who is like the Asar of their team from a defensive standpoint. He's a brilliant defensively. He almost got K'd on the Rick Mahorn pull the chair, but he followed him a little bit. But Nembhard is he's a pest, so it was cool to see the pest get bothered. I mean, just picking him up full court on every possession to the point where it takes almost a full 8 seconds to get past half court. And then by the time he even gets into a play, there's only like 13 seconds left on the shot clock because Asar Thompson was just following you the entire time, skin to skin defense, as Rich Hamoud used to say. And then there was another time where he, I believe it was Nembhard again, drove to the paint, got Asar on his hip. Asar spins in the paint. How often do you see a spin move on defense? Turns around, stuffs his shot. It leads to a fast break, eventually to a K'd bucket. So with all this being said, I have been seeing a lot of new trade talk. Maybe it's because I follow too many stupid Pistons pages. And there, I guess what gets views is trade rumors. It doesn't even have to be true. Somebody's drunk uncle in a garage could have said it. I heard we're getting LeBron. Oh, we better Photoshop him into a Pistons jersey immediately and say title coming? Missing piece? But what they've been doing it with, it was Anthony Davis the other day. Now it's just the Lauri Markkanen talk is heating up. And the rumor is that the Jazz would want Asar Thompson plus some other pieces for Lauri Markkanen. To that, I say no. No, God, no. No. If you've ever seen any of the Spider-Mans, read the comic books, or just knew anything about it, you would know that one of his enemies is Doc Ock. That is what Asar Thompson is on defense. The opponent is Spider-Man. He's Doc Ock. He has 8 arms. Well, the Pistons could use another offensive phenom, and this guy's been averaging 30 points a game. Give me defense. Well, all the new MVPs are all 8-foot light-skinned European sharpshooters. Give me defense. Well, Asar's pretty good, but this guy's in his prime. He's 28 years old, and you got to strike when the iron's hot, and it's wide open in the East. And if you want to make it, well, give me defense. Do not get rid of Asar Thompson. The only player that I would trade Asar Thompson for is Amen Thompson, his clone. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. So on the third quarter, getting into this, Pistons were still up 15 or 17 points or so. Pacers did go on one of the runs. Hey, our boy TJ McConnell, the TJ McConnell revenge game.
White boy.
Remember when I called him a short groomsman?
White boy.
Last episode, well, he went on a tear, 16 points off the bench, and was loud about it. At one point, he got a steal. The Pistons, they made some stupid turnovers. Or they made some dumb mistakes and had some stupid turnovers. But McConnell gets a steal on Asar, scores a layup like one of those, haha, gotcha. So Pistons called timeout. TJ McConnell starts signaling a timeout to JB Bickerstaff, to the coach's face, and then walked by him, and I'm pretty sure he said, you better call a timeout, bitch, or something like that. Really, and Bickerstaff looked at him like he was his teacher. Are you out of your... He looked at him like he was about to drag him by his ear into the opposing locker room, and then say, listen, you are 5'6". I'm not joking. He really, I think was one of the major spark plugs to their comeback eventually in the fourth quarter. And, some guy, Jarris Walker, who? Jarris Walker, who is a 30% three-point shooter, went 5 of 5 from the three-point line. So that's what I mean about desperate teams. It's the same thing as the Giants and Jameis Winston catching passes for a miraculous touchdown going into the Blade Icewood dance. It was what we were starting to see with Indiana. It was all right, this is just what happens. You should always beat bad teams, and you should definitely beat terrible teams, but watch out for the terrible teams because they don't care. And eventually you take enough risks, something's going to work or something like that. I don't know. Trying to make it a microcosm of life. But it got scary for a minute. It got real devil magic-y. Ultimately, they held them off. I wanted to back up a little bit and say that the Pacers' first run in the third quarter, Jaden Ivey came off the bench. He's still coming off the bench for now. I think they're just working him in gradually. And he really was the difference maker into stopping that run. They went on their own run, a 13-2 run. Before you knew it, they were up by 13 or 15 again. And it was Jaden Ivey to Karis LeVert. That's a big time connection. When Ivey can penetrate quickly, Cade is more smooth operator, going to take my time and get 2 feet in the paint. Ivey, it's like a Westbrook where you explodes and that collapses the defense faster. That gives Karis LeVert a more open three, which he's comfortable with. I've seen that happen 3 times in a limited time that Karis LeVert has played. I think that's a great sign. And he had some shots of his own. He had like a miraculous up and under finger roll that easily could have been a Euro step, but he plays like a 90s American. And then to start the fourth quarter, Karis LeVert really started looking good. How many points did he have? I got to look that up. Please tell me it was over. It felt like 21. I want to be right about this. 19 points. Dang it. But 5 of 9, 3 of 6 from 3. He was big. They closed out with him. They would alternate between Karis LeVert and then Asar. I don't know. It's confusing, though, because it would be like, okay, take out Asar on offense because we need a bucket, apparently. It got to that point. The Pacers cut it to 2. I was like, what the hell is going on? But then, sub out LeVert real quick and bring in Asar for defense. I don't know, because what about tipping offensive rebounds and stuff? Maybe just keep Asar in there. I'm not the coach. I don't know the game like that. But I really liked what I saw from Ivy and Karis LeVert. It was kind of I'd say an average Cade game, maybe a little bit below, which is kind of crazy to say because he's still he's turning into a star, and this is turning into a good team when you start having expectations. But 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 44% shooting, still missed both threes. And then, only 3 turnovers. One of the threes was open, though, and I do think if I had to criticize a little bit, that needs to improve, and it needs to start this season. Because if you want to be like in the Brunson and Donovan Mitchell talks and even exceed them someday, well, you can't do that without also having a three-pointer. Not today. But he'll get there. We don't need to rush this. The game, eventually he had to end the game on his own. He took matter into his own hands. Under a minute left, Ben Mathurin scores on Cade, talks a little bit of shit to him. The Pacers are unbelievable for that. And then Cade came up, pull up between the legs, Hezzy, free throw line extended, hit the jumper. I don't remember what happened the next play, but the Pistons are only up by 4 or so. Cade basically got the switch on a pick to get Ben Mathurin guarding him again, and then backed him down, got to the paint, got those 2 feet in the paint. It's over from there. It's like, pick your poise. Do you want a pump fake? Do you want a fade away? Do you want a hook? Do you want a floater? What do you want? And then he gave him a hook / floater and ended the game right there. The final score, they won by 5. It was 122 to 117. They really should have won by double digits. My favorite part about all of it was I watched the interview with Cade, and it was like, congratulations, the Detroit Pistons are 13 wins in a row, franchise record. How does it feel? And he was like, yeah, it didn't come in the way that we wanted it, but that's cool. You could see it in his face that he was pissed off. And that's really great because they didn't close the game out like they wanted to. He brought it up a few times, and that's how it should be. If you treat that like a loss, you can treat the next game like, okay, this is our bounce back game. They want to break this franchise record, and this is a big game. It's Wednesday, so check this out. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and it's on ESPN. That's big news because that means Rich Hamoud gets to watch the game.
What are you doing, Joey?
He won't watch the games right now because Rich Hamoud is my father. If I forget that there's probably listeners that don't know me, because all 54 listens total could be anyone. Nobody's listening yet, but you don't know. Eventually there will be people listening. The game against Boston is on ESPN, and it's at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. I don't know. Everyone's probably busy because, the next day is Thanksgiving or something. And also, it's a cup game. I don't know what Boston's record is. And, of course, I'm talking about the NBA Cup record because we all care about it. We all care about the in-season tournament. Can I see? They're 1-2 in the Cup. The Pistons are 2-0. It's in Boston. That's annoying. This has been a road trip. So they went from they went from Milwaukee to Indiana to now they're shipping out to Boston. But Rich Moot gets to watch that game. He won't pay for FanDuel, which is understandable. We all have 15 streaming services that we have to watch stuff from now. The prices add up. Everything is annoying. You can't switch channels quickly, but you got to cut down one of those and get FanDuel to watch the Pistons. If it doesn't happen, I don't know, maybe there's a holiday coming up to where I can help out and give something. But you don't want to be missing these Pistons. For now, though, ESPN, and also, he hates Boston with a deep, deep passion.
What are you doing, Joey?
The Celtics, he doesn't necessarily hate all Boston things. I don't know how he feels about the people. I should ask him about that. But he hates Boston so much. Everything about the Celtics, it goes back to the Pistons rivalry from back in the day. So why not relive it now?
What are you doing, Joey?
The Celtics aren't good this year, but we're in the streak of a winning streak, or the point of a long winning streak where it feels like a bubble is about to burst at any minute. It's in Boston. Pistons have been traveling. They're working in all these new players. They're playing too many players. I'm trying to sell this game so hard. And what's the other thing? These cup games, these players care. Some of these players are broke. And whatever team, I mean that, by the way. Obviously they are if they're gambling, some of them. But they win money if you win the NBA Cup. Dennis Jenkins gets paid like my salary right now. I believe he has that's the yearly salary. That's not including everything. But point being, these are pretty close to playoff game feelings. I was in the building for the one against Philly, and it felt like it. They're fun to watch. So no matter what, I think it's a close game. I'd love for Pistons to beat them down, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. They need to iron out a few kinks, just like the Lions. Not as badly as the Lions do, but they could listen to the same Dan Campbell speech of, hey, man, a win's a win, but we got to work some shit out. I'm proud of you guys. Bring it in. And I'm excited for yet another game coming up in a few days. I'm sure I'll talk about that. I'll have to figure it out. I'll probably get back to recording this after the holiday break. We'll catch up after the holidays. But thanks for tuning in so far. Go Pistons. Hopefully I can bring back some good news next time. Peace.